Welcome to the first episode of a new YouTube series called Both Sides of the Ball, featuring Coach Stacklin on the other side over there and me, Coach Cason. Both Sides of the Ball is going to be a YouTube series that allows us to kind of show visuals and different things that we can't do with just the podcast alone. All right. So to start out, Coach is definitely more of a offensive side of the ball coach, and I'm more of a defensive side, hence the name. We'll be able to counteract off each other, play off each other, talk back and forth. We may be able to have some different board wars and do different things in the future. Today, for our first episode, we're going to talk about Coach's 5 favorite formations and how I philosophically and as a defense as a whole would align to those 5 formations. Before we get going, you can see here at the bottom, follow us on Twitter. Follow Coach Stock at Coach W Stock. You can follow me at Coach Cason at Millennial Coach. That's the coach has a 0 in it. All right. So let's get going, Coach. It's all you.
What's up, guys? So, like you said, I'm going to give you my top 5 formations that I feel that are, necessary. What we do day one install for formations. The first formation that you see up on the screen here is what we call left. Okay, left can be called many different things. I've heard it called opposite. I've heard it called queen. But me personally, I like to roll with it as being left. It's easy to call in. The kids know it from day one that when they hear left, they know exactly where to line them to, how to get there. As you see on the screen here, real quick, I'm going to talk about the 2 green ones, the S and the R. For us, the S is a fullback type guy. He could be another running back. He could be a backup running back. He could be a tight end guy, a guy who moves well. There's even a time where we put him, the S has been a 6 lineman that we feel that he's good enough to move and, can run our inside zone splits type stuff and be able to get outside, run an outside zone or whatever. But he is another guy who he understands it. He's physical and he has a little bit of speed on him. As you see here, the running back in this, we're in pistol. We do more pistol than anything, and I personally love pistol because you never really get a beat or feel of what we're running, especially when we run our inside zone stuff and our counter stuff. You really don't know based off alignment where we're running or how we're running, the direction we're running to. So that's why I'm a big fan of the pistol. But honestly, you can do it every which way you want to. You can do it on shotgun, you can do it on offset, you can do it on the center. Now, when we do our offset stuff, we usually teach 1 by 1. To either side, right or left, depends on how we call it. And if we go shotgun, we like to say more. We want you at least 2 big steps away from the quarterback. It helps a lot with our outside zone stuff, our stretch stuff, and even sometimes our inside zone stuff. It helps a lot having that depth as wide as we do. There's many different ways you can do it, but my personal favorite, as you see here, is lining up in pistol. So let's bounce outside to those receiver guys, to the red guys. As you see, the A receiver is off. The A receiver in the offense that we run is our best receiver. He is our number 1 go-getter. He can take top off. He can do whatever you need him to do. He is that guy. And pretty much I believe in everything here, the A is always off because most of our motions come from the A receiver. We motion almost every play, somebody, some way. Bounce them to the opposite side of formation, bounce them to stack them, we bounce them in the backfield, we move them every way. We love motion, honestly, because being at the high school level, most guys are very undisciplined sometimes. Even though they can be coached great, they're very undisciplined. They see motion, their eyes get in the wrong place. They start looking every which way, and it throws them completely off. So we love that guy to be off. He's easy to motion. Now, we can motion anybody we want to, but in our pre-snap alignment, he's off. We're going no huddle. He knows he's off the ball at all times. Our Z guy, talk about him real quick. He's always he's more of another type of guy who can take the top off a lot. We like to put them 2 together. Do we have to always put them together? Not really. But he's that guy who also can stretch the field vertically very, very nicely. And one thing we always teach is that Z and A is always together. So if we call left, left pretty much only speaks to the sniffer. And I said this was left. I meant to say this is right. I messed up on that one. But this is right because the sniffer always goes to the call. The twin receivers know they're always opposite of the call. So in this case, it's right. The sniffer goes to the right. The two receivers know they're going to the left. We also teach that the Z and A is always to the field. So really, honestly, we never have to tell them where to line up because wherever they see the field is, that's where they line up in the field, unless we change a game week or it's a game adjustment or something we do. But those two guys are always to the field. And X, the best way I teach X is always the person's by itself. He's what I always like to call him, the ex-girlfriend. He's the one that nobody wants to deal with, the guy that we throw out there. He's another guy who's more about possession type guy. He's more, sometimes I have the great luxury of having two tight ends. Sometimes he's our number one tight end. We put him backside. He's more of a possession type guy, can get the ball, get your first downs. He's an aggressive type of guy. We run him a lot of slants and digs and stuff like that, to kind of stretch us a little bit, kind of confuse the defense. It helps having two tight ends that you can use. But, sometimes when everybody's not always lucky to have two tight ends, I'm more blessed to have two. So the next formation, we're going to call that left. It changes nobody but one guy. We try to keep everything simple. It's high school. They have so much other stuff they're worrying about in the after practice, before practice. So we try to keep everything the same. So literally, the only person that changes is the sniffer. In this case, he's left. He is the two receiver side. One thing I like about this is I've heard a lot of people treat this the same way as trips. Me personally, I wouldn't. But a lot of people love to line up this as being trips. But I'm going to let Coach Cason talk about that a little later about lining up with this look here. But nothing changes. We can move the back how we want to. Sometimes we do what we call an explode, where explode is the back lines up in pistol as he is now, and middle of the cadence, he either jumps to whichever side. So if we're running inside zone to the right, obviously he would jump to the left side and we run inside zone. It's just it makes the defense eyes go somewhere else before pre-snap, try to get them looking somewhere else before we snap the ball, and then we snap the ball and we go. So these are our day one formations that we're going to run these day one, no matter what, no matter if we get nothing else. These are going to be day one install. These guys are going to know this. JV guys are going to know this. Everybody's going to know right and left from the start. We're a big signal type team because we try to go no huddle. So one of the signals we use for this is if this was as this being right, we tug at our shirt for right. And if we want to go left, we tug at our pants. Right, left, the kids actually grasp that pretty well. So if they see right, us tugging at our shirts like this, they know they go left. We tug at our pants, they know they go right. So the next formation we're going to talk about is what we call hurricane. Like I said, we use signals for most of everything. So hurricane, we all know the Miami U. This is one of our big formations here. Now, like I said earlier, I have the pleasure of having a tight end who is top 5 in his recruiting class. So this formation is big for us. He really comes in handy in this formation. We always put him to the call. Like we said earlier, the Z and the A always know they go opposite of the call. So we go hurricane right, which means tight end is to the right. The Z and the A is always to the left. We try to keep it simple, as simple as we possibly can. He knows he's always with the Z. We're still going to line up in pistol in this, unless we do something different, unless we see we want to try something else. We might go in shotgun or under center, but most of the time we're going to go in shotgun. We teach quarterback heels at 6 yards. You tell them 6. Sometimes I line up at 5. So we emphasize bigly 6 yards, always heels at 6. Then running back, obviously, if we're in pistol, he's 2 yards behind. If he's in shotgun, he's 2 yards to the left or 2 yards to the right. Like I said, the A is always off because we can motion him into our trip set. We can motion him stack with the Z. We can obviously one time we did it where we motioned the A to stack with the X. Just something different, just something funky else to try. But like I said earlier, A is always the motion guy. We can motion anybody else if we tag it, but A, day one, knows he is always the motion guy. And he always knows that him and the Z are best friends, they're best buddies. They should be the closest people on the team aside from the quarterback and the center, in my opinion. Where they're always together, they're always moving around with each other, and they know they're always to the field unless we call it something, we call it based on something else we see. So our next formation here, next one. So we use this formation. We call it Trojan. The reason we call it Trojan because our mascot is Trojans. When I got the job where I'm at Reebok now, the head coach said he really, really wanted to go back to the old school football, 2 tight ends, because we have 2 tight ends, and what's the point of having 2 great tight ends if you don't use them? So we've got more into using this formation a lot more with the 2 tight end set. Now, I did say X is A is our best receiver, and if you see here, he's not on the field. So what we may do sometimes is we may take the X off the field, slide the A on the field. So now our best receiver is always on the field at all times. We can even sometimes do it where we take the X and motion him over, motion him back and forth. But this formation here, honestly, I'm not going to lie to you, this is our run formation. If you see this, we're going to slam it down your throat all game long. We do throw out of it a lot, but day one, even the kids know, especially if they hate it when we call Trojan because they know what's going. They know what's coming. There's some kind of run play, some kind of down here running play, inside zone of power, and we'll talk about that later about our run back power out of this. I love it out of this really, especially the way some people line up to it. But like I even said earlier, you can do it from under center, you can do it from pistol, you can do it from shotgun, offset. But this formation here, this is your old nitty gritty. This is a goal line formation when you're inside the 5. And you want to get old school physical, we line up in Trojan and we go. So Trojan right just literally tells the tight end I'm on the right side. Our Y is our best our best tight end, and he knows when he hears Trojan right, he is attached, he is on the ball, and he's on the right side, and the backup or whoever the other tight end knows that he's always backside. We may not always use a tight end. We may put that fullback in there, that sniffer, that 6 lineman. Sometimes, especially when our goal line set down in the red zone, we put that 6 tight end, that 6 lineman at the Y spot, and we outside zone it. We may even sneak him a few times on a little drag route, something at the back of the end zone. Nothing too complicated, just to please the O-lineman, because as a former O-lineman, you always got to keep the big boys happy. If we're happy, you're happy, and we're scoring points. So my next and last formation is we all know it. It's a popular formation. Everybody, I believe, runs it. We call it Longhorn, the old horns up from Texas. Like I said, our Z and our A are always together. There's no confusion. He knows he's the A receiver. He's always with the Z away from the call. Even here, our T knows he's always to the call. We try to keep it simple. We try to keep everything as simple as possible because, high school players, you give them playbooks, you give them packets to study. Do they study them? No. Sometimes you find them in the locker room on the floor. We all know how that goes. So we try to keep everything simple, everything the same because they're high school kids. And one thing we love doing out of this, now we're doing more and more, is we'll line up in Longhorn, but we're motioning back to one side, one on the other side, and now we're empty. And then one in our next, well, not next one, but one of our videos, I'll show you how we talk to our back in motions. We can tell them to line up anywhere just by saying one word. So we'll talk about that later. But even line up in this, we can say, hey, motion right, and now we're empty right. Nothing changes, nothing changed for anybody but one guy. We try to make it all simple because I'm learning. And one thing I hate as a coach is for players to say, I thought, or I thought you said, I thought, I heard, or I thought we were doing this. That is my biggest pet peeve. So I always try to keep everything simple, so they can always remember it, so that when they wake up in the morning, if I say line up in Trojan right, it's instant. If I say go to sleep and have a dream about Trojan left, you know how to line up in Trojan left no matter what. So, yeah, those are my top 5 formations that no matter what week 1 we're going to talk about. Week 1 we don't get in. By Friday, all these formations will be in. Now, this is my favorite part. I'm not going to lie to you. Coach Cason want to come back and counteract everything and make me reconsider why I like these formations and make me think about maybe drawing up other random formations that he can't even line up to. All right, Coach Cason.
Great job, Coach. Thank you. I don't know about all that. You got some great formations in there, offensive formations. We're going to talk through them. So let's get it rolling. All right, so we're talking about defense alignment to those formations, mainly those 5 that he brought up. But the first thing I want to talk about is the fact that formations are really just that. And one of the best things the coach did was every single time he went through a formation, he kind of talked about exactly why they get in that formation, what runs they're looking at, what passes, what are they thinking about, how to stretch a defense. Okay, so if you just gave me formations, if a guy came up to me and said, a line up to trips left, I mean, it's not really enough information to attack an offense. Trips left for an air raid guy is a lot different for trips left from a triple option or a flex bone or a wing tee or an overload set, or those type of different offensive philosophies. So I appreciate that he brought up, kind of gave me a little bit of like I would get on like a Sunday morning, first couple of views of what his offense does, allows me to get an idea of how I want to attack things. Okay. So we're going to go through the first formation. I am a 3-3 personnel guy that functions front, as a front, like a 3-34, like an odd front, but plays, split fields like a 4-2-5 and presses the corners, as you can see here, like the Michigan State, Pittsburgh, Narduzzi tree. So within all that, it sounds like a jumbled up mess, but it's pretty easy. I've taken everything that I really like, things that are really easy to coach, easy to line up to, that give you enough tools in the toolkit to defend all these modern offenses, and pretty much, put the things together that I've coached already, that I know well, and then I like, and jumbled them in together. All right. So to start, we're going to start with coaches, what I would just call 20 left, Twix 0. And all Twix means for us, it's a alignment. It tells the sniffer that he's opposite the passing strength. We're going to line up, first things first, to the passing strength. I'm going to line it up to the 2 receiver side the whole time. First things first. So my star, who all my star is that hybrid safety, that smaller safety, but can play that outside overhang duties, can take on blocks, can play a couple different things. Doesn't have to be the super intelligent guy in the world, but he has a couple different checks. He'll line up completely covered down. You'll see it here. He is on the inside shoulder of the A. I want to completely get rid of that apex conflict that he could have by being here, okay? I want that completely gone. My free is going to be about 12 to 10, depending on how the kid is. We're playing quarters. As I mentioned before, I am a huge quarters guy, especially at the high school level. I think you should base out of quarters, look the same every play, and then move post-snap and do different things and stem some pre-snap, but move post-snap into your cover threes or your trap coverages or different things. But I really like the quarters looks and quarters coverage for high school because it allows you to defend everything. It gives you the tools. And the way the hashes are set up, if I take this boundary guy and he plays here, if you get a run that hits out the base, that's a hard angle for this guy. He's attacking it sideways, trying to get that roll tackle style, and that's not what I'm looking for. I want more of that cut back into the lane. And now if he gets out fast, I'm just cutting right. I'll meet him there at a 45-degree angle. All right. And the second thing for that is I don't like to have this free up here. And unless he is the best kid on the team, the best defender I have, it's hard to get him to double. That was a terrible line, but double alley, banana path to both sides. I don't want to play 10 to 11. And I think it's harder to kick with different motions. Coach talked a lot about motions and motioning that A, and I want it to be as simple as possible. Or I want when that A motions across, let me go back real quick. When that A motions across, that it looks just like it would with the 2x2 with the sniffer too. It's the same exact formation. I'm going to cross-train my guys to where they see both of those, where they're used to seeing both of those. All right. I'm more of an under guy, especially to this 20 personnel set. I really like the angles. I want to give that tackle into the boundary, push you into where my 6 guys, my strength side is. Okay. Mike and the Will are your regular Mike and Wills. Mike's a little bit faster. Will's a little more of a plugger. Knows my Jack's going to play off. He's very similar to the Star can be. He can be a lot of different guys for you. All right, but I want to dive in to the meat and potatoes of this formation, and that's the backfield set. I think backfield sets are super important. Backfield sets and surfaces, where they're getting 2 or 3 man surfaces, are super important in today's football landscape. All right, the first thing we get is this sniffer to that side. So the sniffer can add. That's what's one of the cool things for offensive guys is he can create a 3-man surface here, or he can wrap. He can blast all the way up with this guy kicking out, guard wraps in, he kicks him out, different things they can do, okay? So because of that, we've got to be cognizant of that 3-man surface being created on either side. That's the first thing we got to talk about. My Jack and my in and everybody else inside of the umbrella that we're going to create. Everybody in here is going to spill, which means they're going to attack in the inside shoulder, inside half of blocks, forcing the ball out to these 3 guys that are going to force. They're going to run force and different things like that. All right, so if they add – the thing that has to happen is we have to be able to cancel out blocks against these 3-man surfaces when we don't know where the 3-man surface is coming from. And we'll talk about a blitz that I really like for that in about a couple seconds. But first I want to get to the pistol. Coach talked about it before. He's absolutely right. If you can get the mechanics and the steps of pistol down, pistol's a little more difficult for defenses to deal with because a lot of offenses want to attack either the 3 or the 1, and they have reasons for it. They want to line up a certain way to put you in the 3, and a lot of defenses will sit that 3 to the back. So if you're sitting that 3 to the back and it's giving you what you want as a defense, naturally offenses are going to start making it to where you can't tell, just like we do for them, where they can't get a pre-snap read, a pre-snap picture for what they're going to see. Okay, so that pistol does that for them. Because of that, we're probably going to run some different games to move where the B-gap defenders are at, especially if they're an RPO team. Obviously, in this formation, I don't feel too worried about the RPO, mainly because I have preset guys. I got 3/2 to his RPO side, and I got potentially 2/1 to that side. So I'm not too stressed about that. All right, the sniffer could obviously come out, so the boundary safety would take him. This is my boundary safety. Going to teach him the same exact things as I teach my free. If anybody was wondering, mod, all that means is we're going to make a check for man on deep. So the corner would have man on deep of all of 1. The free would have man on deep of all of 2. And a regular mod coverage, he's got that flat. So if either one of these guys come out here, he's going to end up taking him with a no cover zone. And then the same thing can be said on the backside. We're probably going to be manned here, or if he's really good, we're going to use some kind of bracket or cone coverage that we'll talk about in a later episode. So that's that first formation. So let's talk about the next one real quick. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's talk about the stunt that I really, really enjoyed to this. This is a jam stunt. It tells the Jack to go into the A. He's sparking into the A. The key to it and why it works is I'm trying to take 2 for 3 with this stunt. If he's coming to kick out, my guy goes outside. I've got the look coming. I've now taken up – I've got nobody to block me in that A gap. The center or the sniffer, if done correctly, if the tackle posts and wins and gets that guard right here like he's supposed to anyway – stack it up. Like he's supposed to anyway, it's going to make it an incredibly difficult block for whoever has to pick up this Jack coming right off the hip of him. Coming right off his hip. Either the center's got to block back which means I've got numbers by adding the nose. I've added, so I've taken 3 and potentially 4 guys for 2, and I'm all about canceling gaps, especially against the modern-day offense. You got to cancel gaps against these RPO guys, all right? Or the sniffer is going to get picked by him pulling in there. He's going to take him with him. That's going to give me my 3 for 2 as well. If the center steps away that way or blocks this guy like he most likely would, depending on what the, whatever the block is, you may get this guard, some kind of double action, anything like that, the jack's going to sweep right on in. Coming right down the hill line, he's going to make the play on the line. I got this, stole it from Venables, Clemson stuff. They call it pop, I believe. It works great. I mean, it is an awesome stunt from the strong or the weak side. We use it mainly with our jack because we have that 3-tech to the weak in the underfront so much. All right, so let's go to the second front. The second formation that Coach gave us. Got it back out of that bad boy and go over. All right, so now he's taking that sniffer and he's brought him over. Coach said that a lot of guys take this as trips. I do not, because we're going to line up the same way. We got the passing strength right here. If he, for some reason, was to go out into the flat, the star is going to take him with regular mod check cover rules. He's going to take the first guy, the first flat, and he's got him all the way with a no cover zone. So if he was to wheel out, we'd end up – I feel like we have the alignment to defend the wheel of sniffer, anything like that. The thing that can happen is he can still bring that 3-man surface wherever he wants to. First thing I'm going to tell my guys, my end needs to expect down and blast right here, either from split zone or if they're powering to him. All right, so he needs to expect that. We're going to do some things in a second to help him with that, to help him cause havoc there. All right, my jack doesn't have a 2-man surface, so he's going to attach to the line. He's playing BCR rules, allowing this guy to cut back. So BCR means he's playing the bootleg, he's playing the cutback, and he's playing the bootleg, the counter, and the reverse, or the cutback with counter reverse. All right, so he's playing both of those. Where my little I lost my remote there.
Yeah, I don't see it.
I don't see it. There it goes. It's back. Hold up. I'll go back here. All right. So he can still block out. We're going to attack inside. We're spilling that block because we're inside that umbrella that we talked about. We're spilling that block, trying to get it to run sideways out to him. All right. Give me 1 second. And we're good. We're back on it. All right. Nothing changes for us with this sniffer. We're still going to align. We're not aligning to that sniffer. We treat that sniffer just like it's a fullback. It's just brought up to the line. It's what modern offenses like to do, to arc block, things like that. All right. When we arc block, we're going to attack it right down the line too. We're not going to sit on it. We're going to surf down, and we're not going to run with them. All right. So let's go to stunt we really like against this. Talked about it earlier. That ends expecting. He's absolutely expecting block down. So we're going to get rid of that whole thing for him. I'm going to take the end. It's called Einstein. We're still in base. We're running Einstein. It tells the N, the E, to go in. Very simple. Einstein. So the N is going to spark. He's attacking that outside hip of the next guy inside of him. He's eyes on that outside hip. He's going to take a flat step, get in there, cause havoc. One of two things have to happen. All right, so say the guard pulls, they're running counter weak or power weak for some reason. We're going to get right in the hip. We're going to have another guy to add with them, with the sniffer, without my nose even pulling and doing his work. We're going to get a guy going in that angle, okay? The other thing is if we get that block down, we're going to create havoc right there. He could potentially step out. Now that I've taken up 2 for 1, because if he steps out and doesn't climb to the star of the mic, or is late to climb to the star on the mic, I've taken up 2 for 1, and I've still got my free rusher in the back. And I've probably, because I got a better athlete typically at the end than they have at tackle, depending on, I'm getting in that lane, okay? I want to talk about what the nose is doing. The nose is striking. He's playing run down first, expecting a run no matter what first. And all he's doing, you see these little lines, is if it turns out to be a pass, he feels pass. Everybody's yelling pass. He's going to contain out to loop. Right, a lot of guys kind of get worried about this by my one technique. For one, I'm not going to play a plugger. I'm not, there's no room on the defensive side of the ball in our day and age for a 350-pound D lineman. for the most part. I can get the same thing out of a 300-pound guy that can move a little bit more. I can still teach him how to lag and do different things and attack blocks. That 350-pounder is not there for me, and we don't have many 350-pound bodies running around, not playing football. Most of them are on that other side, Coach. They're over there, O-line over there.
Sure.
You don't need any. If you're that slow, go play over there. It's a great place to play. Love it. But you got to get off. So that nose is going to wrap. What's gonna happen naturally? It's going to help out the nose. Is him crashing in is going to create these lanes for him. All right. So let's draw it up. He's going to kill off this inside lane, rush into the front side. He's striking. He's got the two-way go wherever he wants to go. If it's pass, once he finds out it's pass, he's striking up front. Jack's got it out there. So the only way for him to go is to wrap outside if done properly. And that's where as soon as he goes to escape the pocket or move or adjust his feet, my wrapper's right there for him. Okay, it's going to make the job a lot easier for him than we think. It's not nearly as difficult, and I like doing that a lot. And I like doing that with our simulated pressures and things like that we'll talk about in the future. So let's get to more of his three-man surface already created stuff. Oh, I got one more. My bad. Yeah, I love this. This is another thing I stole. Another thing, especially when you're facing these guys, this sniffer back likes to add, each way, attack might, block out the jack, trap block, wham, the tackle, different all kind of things. They like to pull them and make the three-man surface for you. So that's how we want to attack it. I got this from Venables, stole it from Venables. He calls it Vegas, and it's Vegas because it's part of our money package because it works. All right, so what you're going to get is the first part of it is the nose is going to spark opposite A, okay? He's going to slant right to that opposite side, hip of the center. We're hoping he takes him back. Regardless, say we get our guard pull here, he's going to end up in his hip, just like we want him to. Sniffer's wrapping with him. We can cause some serious damage if we do a great job here. We can take 2 or 3 guys with us. And if not, it's going to push, if they're running down or for some reason both of them stepping back, that's a hard block for the guard, especially if he'll sit right here and not run straight up the field and not allow himself to get blocked. If he holds his ground, he's going to create that wall for the guard. The center's not really going to get anybody. The angles kind of hurt him. And the first guy we want to roll, especially if we're facing that split zone and those guard pull for powers, for 2-back powers, is that Mike, as soon as the cadence starts, he's going to start bumbling in. He's going to start motioning in, and he's going to attack inside shoulder of the guard in the A-gap that the nose just vacated. He's going to strike it, hit it hard. Same exact – notice how a lot of my diagrams, I keep that arrow point at the same spot. That's where our target is. We want to live there, especially on these blitzes. We want to live right in that area and not run upfield and make huge horizontal seams. Because as a former lineman, horizontal separation is so much more important, and you're going to get it so much more often than you are vertical mowing a guy down 4 yards. If I can move him 4 yards east and west, I'm creating this huge lane for the guy behind him to have to deal with, and I'm creating a huge lane for my running back. We want to constrict everything in tight. We want to get rid of that space, and that's why I like to cut out the space. Is another reason why I like to press these guys, because you press these guys, and now we're playing 9-on-9 ball, and all he's got to worry about is a go route where he's already pushing him outside the numbers, low percentage throw, and he's alignment based. He's going to defend the slant first. He's going to be in good position to defend the slants. And doing this cuts it out from 53.5 yards to about 47, 46, 45 and a half. And that's what you want as a defense. You really want to constrict space for them. Okay, so let's get back to this coverage. Let's get back to this blitz for you. Clear off these drawings. All righty. The Mike's going to attack inside shoulder, causing havoc. Same thing. Sniffer pulls. Sniffer goes opposite direction. Guard pulls. He's right in the hip. He's adding himself to the numbers that they're trying to create by making that gap scheme, because that's all gap schemes are for. Okay, they're trying to add numbers post-snap and see if you'll match them. What's going to happen is that Mike's going to jam in, and the will, so now if you look at it, the will doesn't have any fit, I could run him outside to the force alley area in the weak side, but, he's not going to get there. There's no point, and I have a guy behind him to do that for me, okay? So you see my little son there. He's coming in to join. Say, hey. All right. So the will is going to go cross face of him, And he technically has the B, but I don't teach guys, you have A, you have B. I don't want to constrict them any in that way for them. I want them to find the open windows, and that's exactly what he's going to do here. Find the open window. If the open window is this guy blocks down, this guy blocks out, this guy's wrapping in, or this guy steps there, and that's the open window, he's going to scrape over the top and in right into it. If the tackle comes down, he's going to scrape right over the top of it and in right in that window. And we're hoping to take 2 or 3 with 1 or 2. So now we have free rushers, and I have depth to defend you from once we get there. Love this front. You can do it a myriad of ways. You can drop this jack off. It's a great pass coverage, pass blitz, the way it attacks pass protections. You drop that jack off. You can man one side of it if you're getting 2x2 and play those Kirby Smart Big 12 pressures that he likes to talk about. And you can do a lot of things. You can get a lot of mileage out of that, just that blitz, okay? So we're going to go to his third formation. It's your 11 personnel, 11 left personnel. All right. You can add this star solid, which will come, more importantly in here in a minute. You can add him to the attach him to the front with a solid call, but you don't have to, and I don't like to against 11 personnels because a lot of 11 personnels aren't trying to run down your throat as much. They're still trying to do a lot of spread things and spread you wide, do things like that. Okay, so as you can see, my jack got the 2-man surface. All right, I'll help you. Give me a second. All right, my jack, like I said, it got the 2-man surface out here, so he's going to line just like the star would if he had 2 guys. Inside eye, get rid of that conflict. Depending on now that we don't know where the back's at because Coach likes pistol, and he should like pistol. Pistol is a great toolkit for offenses. If that back was over here, if that back was right here, I like to annotate. Like my favorite thing here. Back was over here, he would play pass first, and he would be my run first guy. And vice versa. If my back was over here, he would hold, and he would fire off being run first. And we could call a different myriad of things. We could make a mixed coverage call that would tell the corner and the boundary safety that they're megged up on 1 or 2. You can do different things like that. You just got to have toolkits. I definitely follow the kill principle instead of the kiss, the keep it simple, stupid. I follow the, keep it likable and learnable. So if I teach you these simple concepts, I can keep adding in, with slight little variations, these small little variations, I can add in new concepts and different things for our toolkit. Not necessarily new concepts, but new tools in our toolkit. Going to keep that under front there. You see it attacking that guy. Coach said that this guy's a stud, so we're going to talk about how we're going to defend him. The first thing we're going to do is put that in either in a 7, attacking his inside shoulder, or a 6-eye. I like to call it a 6-eye now. 6-eye is a lot cooler for some reason. Or a 6, which is a head up on him, attacking him. Still keeping us out. Nothing changes for the ends fit, but we're going to make him work around different things. Another thing we can do is bracket him with these 2 and make a bracket call. We'll say bracket strong or bracket tight end. And they'll bracket this guy. He would have everything out to him, and he would help from distance. He would defend the post first with this guy outside leverage. Make sure they have to throw a beat us with somebody that isn't that tight end. Okay? Because we pretty much covered everything we're going to do. My Will's going to read the window. My Mike's going to read the window. I'm making a mod check over here. So I got it down there. My mod check over here as well. Mod check, whatever the best coverage call is. I want to get them to the point where I'm not having to call it. All I got to do is this so they know we're not bringing a blitz, and we'll call some kind of – the best coverage call puts us in the best position to win that we've gone over for that week. All right? So let's back out of that, and let's go to the next thing. This is by far the best formation Coach put out there the whole time. It's awesome. So as you can tell, we have the 3-man surface here. We got the 3-man surface to the other side. If you count it, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 gaps to defend. That's what makes it, a pain in the butt. This formation can give you 4 verticals. They can run 6, but they can also run any kind of run where you have to defend with 8 gaps of fit. All right, 8 dimensions of fit. So the first thing is our boundary and our force are still going to be in look force. They're still going to be looking, making the guy in front of them right. All right. But what I want to talk about is one of the most underlooked aspects of high school football, and that is that 80% of the game is played on a hash. Okay, most of the games are played on a hash. So if we're on a hash and I put my 6 to the field, because I'm going to draw you a line, right down the center line. Another bad line.
That's pretty decent. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Yeah, for me, that's pretty decent. So I got my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And obviously, if I got 6 front side, I got 5 back side. All right.
Yep.
So if we're on a hash and the hash is over here, and I've pushed you to go into the hash, I want you to play without space, and you have a decision, you're getting open field, most offenses are going to attack to this weak side. They're going to attack the weak side first. All right, once I get this mouse to start working again, that'd be really nice. Just does what it wants. It's pretty funky. Oh, there it goes.
Technology.
Yeah, it's pretty funky. So we're going to get that. The Jack's going to be in a 6 tech. He's playing look force, and we're going to force you. I want to make sure you attack this way, and that's where I bring in one of my favorite stunts, one of my favorite pressure coverage calls that I've ever seen, and I've seen it a lot more from guys now, and from defensive guys, and it's a great idea because it's called base chop. So I'm big on alliteration, big on words, makes it easier to learn. So base chop, my corner is now outside. So as soon as he gets the height, he's firing off the edge. He's the C-gap force defender on this side. My boundary is going to meg, which means man everywhere he goes on 1. He's going to show it as slowly as possible, as late as possible to the snap. He's going to show that he's manned up on him. He's attacking him with inside leverage. Going to face the slant first, the hitch first, and then the verticals of him, okay? He's by alignment, he has some help against the post. I don't want him to come running out here unless I'm running some kind of weird stuff that we don't run that Georgia does where they bring all kind of crazy trap 2 coverages. All right. Bringing this corner off the edge gives the offense a non-traditional run fitter. They're not used to the corner, especially in press, which is another reason why I love press. It allows you to disguise what you're doing. They don't expect this guy to fire off the edge. So when he does, a lot of times it catches offenses off guard, okay, and he comes unfree block. Not many times is the Y going to line up and think, well, maybe I need to get the Jack who's head up on top of me or the corner, taking a step in the corner. That's a hard step for him. Our offenses would have to game plan for this. I love this so much. The Jack's going to attack the inside. He's going to line 6 tech, giving that great tight end that he talked about, getting hands on him usually, but in this stunt, he's going to fire into that near hip tackle. The tackle's coming. He can squeeze down into a 3 if he wants, if it makes it easier, depending on the athlete I have. He's going to strike the inside shoulder of the guard, creating a wall, creating that wall. I'm wanting that back to take 2 steps on that run fit weak, here, see it, and try to walk back into my 6 guys that I have, that are flowing to the ball. I love this stunt. As much film, I want to put some film out on it. It is one of the favorite stunts. Coach talked about it. We talked about it off, recording about if this was middle of the field. One of the first things I would do, I would not bring the corner if he's from far distance. They would just make a you call, and that would just bring the boundary off the edge. All right. He wants to bring it as late as possible. Boom, come off the edge and keep that corner in coverage. All right. The other way, since we talked about the fact that there's only 5 guys, we have to counteract that. We can't sit back as a defense and line up the exact same way every play. You will get beat. If you give an offense the same exact picture every single time, you're making it a lot easier. You're going to slowly get burned and killed, and you're going to make it way too easy on the offense. All right. So the second stunt we want to talk about out of this ace formation is base weak. So base weak, really easy call. All it does is by nature, it's changing where the under's at for me. It's changing where the nose is. So my nose is going to go front side and make that 1 tech. He's tacking inside shoulder, going to play it just like a 1 tech. Anybody pulls, crosses face, he's going with him. All right. My tackle is going to come from that 4-eye and strike through his hip. All right. They should create a stone wall at latest, at least. The will's going to make him right anyway. All right. The end sparking, notice how it's the exact same thing as Einstein. So all I have to teach him is Einstein. If I teach him Einstein and I teach my nose opposite and I teach my tackle out, all of them know inside what they have. Now when I call weak, I just tell them, all right, in, this is just Einstein for you. It's the same exact stuff for you. All right, he's going to line in the 6-eye, probably going to squeeze down a little bit, slowly at the snap, before the snap, and then spark inside shoulder of that guy. I'm adding the number back. So now if you draw that line down the middle, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. And I've added my nose that can go with any guard pulls. He's going to be in great position to deal with guard pulls or any outside zone. He can run flat down the line of scrimmage to attack all those weak side runs that you're probably going to get from this formation. All right, so I really like that. Back here we got the look forces. All look force means, I said before, is you're going to make him right. Most cases he's coming right here in between where that jack and that center corner is for the alley force, because there isn't really that much alley room in the weak side of the formation. But depending on where we play so much on the hash, there isn't so much room. Same thing for the free. If they go weak, if they go strong, he's making this guy right. Most times he's going to go out there, but for some reason, if he goes in, he's just going to make him right. Go off his ass, make him right. All right, so let's go to the next one. So this is my favorite front, my favorite offensive formation to date. So in the past 10 years, as you know, as I know, anybody who's been around the game, anybody's watched TV, this has become all the rage with the air raid, the up-tempo, the Hal Mummy, the Mike Lee, 10 personnel, 2-man services to both sides. And what has happened, because it's been around for so long, originally defenses were just getting whooped. I'm talking about whooped up and down. We had an offensive output, crazy offensive outputs in those early 2010, 2005s when these different concepts come up and the RPOs started getting big, things like that. And now that it's been around for so long, defenses, they've caught up. They've found out ways to defend it. This is my favorite way to defend it. We call it special. You've seen it, everybody runs it. LSU runs. Everybody runs it. Clemson runs it. Iowa State runs it. Everybody runs some form of this. We're going to take the end. And because we don't have a 3-man surface, this makes it a lot easier. We're going to take our end, put them in a 4-eye. As offensive line and offensive coaches know, the 4-eye is specifically difficult because without that 3-man surface, that Y to come down and hit the mic, that is a hard block, and it pretty much frees up my mic almost by itself. He is a free flower now. All right, so let's talk through some of the stunts or some of the front. I keep saying fronts and stunts, keep messing it up. Let's talk through some of the front play from this. I teach my nose to do what's called lagging. And all lagging means he's going to strike him head up, but he's got wherever the guard comes to him, he's going to throw and box out his hips like Tim Duncan, like Alonzo Mourning, whoever is DeMarco Cousins, whoever. I got to tell these guys how they box out, throw his hips into the next blocker. So if we're getting zone to our left, he's going to step. He's going to eat it, make sure he gets blocked. He has to make sure he gets blocked by the center. That frees up these 4 guys. All right. My guard's going to come up to try to take him. He's going to squeeze his hips and box out into that hole. That's taking up 2 right here. All right. Then we're going to do the front side guy, use my 4-eye, making it difficult to get up to him. Same thing's got to happen. This is a hard block. He's going to force this guy, put hands on him, force this guy to block him. He has to block him. And it's the exact same overlapping technique of the lag, because as the guard comes, he's going to do the same thing. Box out, put his hips into the guard. All right, fighting the guard. We're going to get a double team there. So now he's taking up 2 people for their 4. All right, the backside guy, this is a hard block anyway, but he's just going to strike once the guard leaves. He sees guard leaves. His eyes are on the guard. He's going to run down the line of scrimmage, attacking the back. The back's going to be over here. We're going to get some kind of drop action, reading him, whatever type of action. It's kind of a hard read. All right, so wherever the back goes opposite, the jack and the star are going to stay home. So, and they can do this, and I can play this with Mike and the Will because my 3 have taken up 5. So now that my 3 have taken up 5, and this is all scratched all out, scratch. I have 4 guys to defend the inside zone and defend RPOs from depth. makes it really hard. He has to bounce out, and now I've got two guys. He's going to step here. I'm going to get a free release coming in because he doesn't have B gaps filled up. The A gap's there. He's just going to read it, and as he goes and forces that, he's going to go there. The will, now that I made all these scratch marks, the will doesn't have A gap because he's gone here and he's taken him up. There's no A gap. The B gap's taken up. I got a C gap guy, so he can flow right on over into that A gap. He's going to stack, go over just like I said. All right, so now I've covered up all those gaps, even though I've only got 3 defenders and 5 in the box, supposedly. All right, my star, if we're running this way, my star is going to fit. He's going to make him right, so whichever way that means. If he goes out this way, he'll go in. If he goes out, whichever. He's going to fit him off of him, make the tackle. If guys will stay in 10 personnel, that's not – offensive guys, I'm telling you, that's not where the game's headed. You got to do things like Coach has with 12 personnels. I know it's hard to find those tight end bodies, but you have to do different things to change it up for defenses because we're catching up. We're catching up very fast to this up-tempo. What gave issues for the up-tempo is now remedied by defenses because they make them one words. I can just go I go base, and we're at the point now that if we get 2 by 2, we just yell special, and they'll line up to it. I don't have to call anything. It doesn't take any time to do anything like that. All right. Now I want to talk about if you're a true 4-down guy, you don't have this linebacker. Could be a safety type, whatever type. That guy that has to be on the field. You don't want to have him on the sidelines. He's too good to be on the sidelines, but it doesn't fit your role. You don't have that guy. You have 4 pass rushers, or this guy is a pass rusher, and he's a really good pass rusher. And you've got to keep him on the field. You've got to keep him running the passer. So if you get that 4-man front, what you cannot do, because obviously I want to stay in the under. You could slide to the over. That gives you different problems. I want to stay in the under because it's easiest for us to line up to, and I like the angles that it builds. It forces you into my 6-man front, my 6-man side because of the tackles 3 technique. All right, so the first thing we have to do is not stay static with our defense. We have to bring pressures. We have to run stunts. We have to change where we're going to be. We can't give them that pre-snap picture that we keep talking about, pre-snap pictures and hidden surfaces. You have to change those type of things for the offense. All right, so this is my favorite one. It's called Pirate. Obviously, you got a T in there, you got an E, but really it's just pinch, P-I, pinch. And getting the tackle in the end are going to pinch. So they're both pinching inside shoulders of the guys that are lined up on attacking it. And what's going to happen is if we're getting inside zone that way, it's going to force that quarterback to pull it because he's getting this. That quarterback's going to pull it, and now I've got a Will sitting right out here to take up that C-gap alley area. And I got this guy making him right if he plays off of him. All right. Another thing we talked about, the nose. See how I got that guy going? The nose is containing. It's not difficult to do. This is another thing I stole from Clemson and Venables. We have a lot more 260-pound bodies that have a little bit of explosive step than we have 320-pound bodies that are sluggers and fat boys nowadays. That's just where the world's going. It's where football's going. And you have to with how much these offenses are stretching you out. All right. So that's the things we talk about every day with our guys is building in toolkits for us. We have to create our concept, our regular concepts, and then we add these little tools in for us to build off of. All right, obviously the Will is going to move out so he can play his quarter stuff. You could meg it if you wanted to. It gives you a little bit of week to post, different things like that. You can meg it, but you have to move. You can't sit still against that front, especially if it's in the middle of the field. There's 53.5 yards for them to play with. There's a lot of room for them, and you don't have everything covered. And that's why I love the special front, and that's why that's going to be the main check for us to get into. Let me exit out of this bad boy. All right. And that'll be closing for me. Coach, you got anything before I talk? Let me put this back. Got anything before I talk?
Yeah. Yeah. I just want to make the point of, we all got these great ideas, and people think they invented football nowadays. Everything that we do, we've stolen from somebody and made it our own. The formations you see, I honestly first saw the formations when Auburn first started. became big with the sniffer stuff. That's when I first began to see it. So everything that we do is not something we created. I'm always looking to find new ways to expand what we do, making it easier, make it, as Coach say, kiss. I prefer
no kill.
Kill. I'm sorry.
Keep it likable and learnable. That's my thing.
But
I stole that too, by the way. I stole that too, by the way.
I prefer to keep it stupid simple. I prefer to keep it simple. But I mean, we all do stuff different. And he also made a good point. I want to make this point about how if you don't adjust or don't move to motions, or you line up the same way every time, I promise you guys, if you give me the same look every single play, every week, you don't adjust at all, I'm going to find a way to beat you. I believe that's what we're supposed to do as coaches. We're supposed to find different ways to beat you. And if you give me the same look, pre-snap, post-snap, you don't make any adjustments, you're making my life easier. You're making me look good. He made a great point about movement, especially post-snap.
I would say not only that, you don't have to beat coach. You ain't got to beat coach. You got to beat the player. You got to beat the quarterback. Right. You got to beat the kid. And if you're giving him the same pitcher that coach has taught him how to, he got it, and he can play on those, he can play on that default attitude, that default, everything's the same every single time. He's going to play fast. That quarterback's going to play fast. And if he's worth a salt, or you got a back there it's worth a salt, or a receiver, it's going to be a long day if you don't change what you're doing just a little bit. Just give them. I'm not saying run 87 coverages. I'm saying have tools in the toolkit and stunts and different movements that make it look different, but it's easy for your guys to learn. And that's the balance you have to find. I love that we have two differing philosophies on that. I'm super excited for this podcast. I think it's going to, or for this video. I'm also excited for the podcast. You can check it out on the site. We'll be doing co-hosting a podcast as well. As you can tell, we're pretty good friends. We actually like each other, which is
surprisingly.
I think this would be a great toolkit and a great resource for younger coaches, and even more advanced coaches. We'll talk about some things and we'll validate your ideas, or make you rethink ideas. But all this is for us is, mainly for us is to throw things on a board, see where they stick, get better every single time, sharpen our tools, sharpen our swords against each other. And I hope to continue to do this video.
And guys, if at any point, if you want to comment and say, suggestions, stuff you want to see us talk about, don't be afraid to say it. We're just two normal guys that love talking football. So at any point, if you want to see us talk about something, tell us the way you run something, don't be afraid to say it, because there's 1,000,001 different ways to skin a cat.
Yeah, I'm 100 way. I'll definitely network with just about anybody, and I'll give my phone number out to anybody. I'll talk ball 24/7.
We have nothing else to do.
Yeah, and this is what I love. This is what we love. Before you go, if you loved it, go down there and subscribe. Make sure you catch every single new episode. We're going to get real consistent with how these things come out. We're going to talk about just a myriad of different topics. When we're off here, we're going nonstop, going back and forth about things that we could talk about and how we do things and the way we've evolved and things like that. So unless you got anything else, Coach.
Nope, I'm good, man.
All right, we are signing off. Thank you for watching Both Sides of the Ball, the inaugural episode. Hope you guys have a great day.